The life of a forgotten hero of World War II will be commemorated on Hayling Island today. Commander Harold Wilkinson Goulding made dozens of clandestine landings in enemy-occupied Europe and trained hundreds of others for the difficult and dangerous work. But details of his incredible career only emerged after the discovery of a suitcase containing secret documents. Our East Hampshire and Isle of Wight reporter Dominic Blake has more and joins me from Hayling Island. Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, Jules.
And also alongside you, the granddaughter of Harold Goulding, DSO, so we shall talk to her shortly. This is an amazing story, Dominic. What a find, and he was definitely quite a character.
Yes, absolutely, Jules. A very successful and skillful mariner, first and foremost. He started his career in the Merchant Navy, had his first command at the age of 25, and became a Trinity House pilot as a very young man. And, of course, when war broke out, his intimate knowledge of the coast of France was incredibly valuable. He was also a very brave man, as well as having these exceptional navigation skills. And all of that was put to good use by the Secret Intelligence Service, by SOE, and by the Commandos. And, in fact, Commander Goulding conducted around 70 landings in person, more than any other officer in World War II. And as you say, he trained hundreds of other men here at the shore bases on Hayling Island, which made up HMS Northney. And his career progressed. He went on to become a commander of the Special Boat Unit, which is a predecessor of the SBS, and he went on to become Commodore of Coastal Forces. So he was really at the centre of the action right through D-Day and beyond, Jules.
And Dominic, then the mystery of the suitcase. Tell us more.
Well, that's right. Very little was known about his exploits. He got a DSO, he was mentioned in dispatches, but very, very little public knowledge about what he'd done. And in fact, he sadly died in 1945, aged just 41, without even being able to tell his family much about what had been achieved. And after he died, just to show how important he was, the Chief of Combined Operations at the time, Major General Robert Laycock, actually wrote to his son to pay tribute to a man he described as his friend, but to explain that his father's work would have to remain secret. But then, in 2010, this extraordinary discovery, his granddaughter Jill came across a case full of papers in the attic which began to show just how important that secret work was, and it's inspired her to arrange some pretty amazing commemorations today, Jules.
Yes, and I'm looking at the rundown for later: a flotilla, a flypast, and the unveiling of 2 blue plaques later. Let's talk to Jill Goulding, the granddaughter of Commander Harold Goulding, DSO. Jill, a very good morning to you.
And a good morning to you, Julian.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about grandfather's exploits and how you discovered more about them.
As Dominic said, I found an attaché case in the loft, in my mother's loft, along with my mother when we were clearing it out. And we broke into it because it was locked and found all these top secret documents, which was fantastic. And I then started researching because the documents on their own, of course, I didn't know what they really meant. So it's 5 years of work, and we've come to this day today, which actually, along with happy birthday to all your other people, it was his birthday today too.
Oh, really? So that's very appropriate. And I'm sure that was in your mind when you were thinking about this special day. Take me through what you've managed to organise, because I'm really impressed with this. The flotilla.
Yes, that's correct. The flotilla is at least 4 World War II cockle canoes. There's a Mark I, a Mark II, a Mark VII and a Mark VIII, and possibly a Mark IX. We're not sure about that yet. We've also got a Spitfire coming and a Dakota. The Dakota is very relevant, although he was naval. He flew in a Dakota from Belgium back to Northolt with the very first surrender papers from Germany from Aachen. And
2 blue plaques being unveiled today. We must mention this. How's that happening?
Yes, the British Plaque Society have produced 2 blue plaques. One is at the foreshore of the Langston, which overlooks Langston and Emsworth harbours, and that's to commemorate the trialling of the cockle canoes and the assault landing craft and the men and women that served in them and all the training they did in those waters, right the way down to Hayling Island Sailing Club. And the other plaque is to go on the house that he lived in just down the road from there, Moss Rose.
Lovely. And you've got some VIPs coming along, haven't you?
We certainly have. We've got Major Ram Seeger, who's ex-SBS. He was commanding officer of the SBS, and he's very kindly agreed to unveil both plaques. We also have Mike Bettridge, MBE, ex-SBS and chairman of the SBSA, and his good wife, Captain Carol Bettridge, OBE, and various other... We've got lots of MBEs and OBEs. It's quite wonderful.
And final thought, Jill, how proud are you of your granddad?
Oh, I'm just busting. I can't tell you. Very emotional and so proud. The whole family are. And we just hope everybody has a fantastic day.
What a day, what a story. And look, Jill, thank you very much for being on BBC Radio Solent this morning. I'm very grateful to you. All the very best.
Thank you very much, Julian. I really appreciate all your support.
Pleasure. That's Jill Goulding on the wartime exploits of her grandfather, Commander Harold Goulding DSO, and before that our reporter Dominic Blake, and all those things happening later. So if you're wondering why there's a flotilla, a flypast and all these things happening, now you know a bit more about it. You heard it here on Solent. It's 7:45.